Okay, I think we're good. Welcome. Welcome to the show with no name. We'll get to that in a minute. I'm Sue Mosley, and I decided that the time was there for people to have a political talk show of sorts. Local politics is kind of my passion, and I've called in two of my dear friends who are also political pundits. So today we're going to do a little political roundtable show to see if it works or not. And before I introduce my co-host today, we will be having a contest to name this show. You'll have to go to our YouTube channel where this show you'll find the link, however it works, and subscribe to the channel and put in the comments what you think the show should be named. And we'll be giving away at the end of the month, we'll run it through August 31st, and we'll be giving away a ticket to the Sequins and Saddles event with Governor Ron DeSantis at the World Equestrian Center on October 1st. So that's a $150 dinner ticket to see the governor speak, and that'll be the prize for the person who comes up with the best name of the show. And it'll be time-stamped, so if there's duplicate names, whoever submitted it first will win. But let me introduce my guest, my host today, and I have with me the wife of Earl Honey, Shelia Arnett. Sheila herself has run for office twice. She's run for school board 2 campaigns, and Sheila is married to former County Commissioner Earl Arnett, who served for 1 term on the Marion County Commission. And then over here, half asleep, is my long-term buddy, Bobby D, formerly of the Bobby D radio show, legend in our own town here. And Bobby himself has also run for office twice, once for school board and once for county commission. And Bobby is married to Bellevue Mayor Christine Dobkowski. So welcome, both of you. And
Thank you.
You know, both we've all been friends for many, many years, and when we're on the phone together, what do we talk about but politics? So, it was only right that we do something together. But Bob, you back in the day were one of 2 people that actually talked about politics on your show every day. You basically had a political radio show.
Yes.
And I was telling Sheila the other day about you and John Lund. And for those that don't know, and this is 15 years ago?
Yeah, 2000.
2000, because I ran in 2002 and 2006. But you used to, as a candidate, you got heavily vetted. And I believe that's part of the problem now with people that run. We are not vetting these people that want to come out and just jump in and run for office. And you used to have to go on Bobby's show and John Lund's show, and you would be grilled literally for hours. And, when you got done with the 2 of them grilling you, you pretty much knew where you stood on the issues and whether you were a true conservative or a liberal or what. Bob, tell us a little bit about how, you used to run your show, because people were scared to death to be on your show. I know I was.
I'm sorry that they were scared to death, but
No, you're not.
I am a little bit sad about that. But, well, we just did a political show, and we asked conservative questions, and like you said, back in the day, there was 3 people. There was John Lund, who was he made me look like Cinderella. But
he was brutal.
He was
brutal.
Tough. It was Chip Morris.
Oh, I forgot about Chip.
And
That's
then
right.
myself, and all 3 of us did mostly local politics, and we were all basically conservative guys, and you were able to get different views or different questions from different guys. And back in the day, we used to actually do live shows at the supervisor elections. And when the votes would come in.
And the county commission. It started out in the county commission chambers. That's right, on election night.
And then they'd come in and we talked to the candidates, and it was a lot more, people were more involved, I think, more engaged in the political arena back then, because, we had 3 people that if I didn't figure it out or Chip didn't figure it out, by the time it got to 5 o'clock and John Lund show at his station, he would know, oh, this didn't get brought up, and this didn't get brought up, so let's take care of that this way. And also the Star Banner was very liberal.
Right.
So our conservative politicians...
And much more interactive than they are now.
Yes.
Well, and much more local. They've gotten, they don't.
But they also had a reporter at the school board. They had a reporter assigned to county commission, an exclusive reporter for city council. So they were covering the issues.
They had
and
one Danellen, one in Bellevue.
Yeah, and and they were doing. Brad Rogers was writing actual editorials and endorsements during campaign season. I was up at 4 o'clock in the morning waiting on the newspaper, waiting to see if I got endorsed or not. I almost threw up up in the driveway.
Yeah, so
But-
the community was more engaged, and then for the conservative politicians who had to struggle with getting hammered by the Liberal Star banner, Lund, myself, and Chip Morris would almost like protect those conservative politicians from getting really, really hammered over issues that they shouldn't have got hammered for back in the day. So it was a really good thing. Now we have nothing. We don't have a TV station, we don't have a newspaper, we don't have any talk radio.
We have this now, this Mickey
is
Mouse
right.
show right here
Right, yeah.
in a secret undisclosed location
Yeah.
somewhere in Ocala.
So,
Mickey Mouse
today,
operation.
Who knows where it's tomorrow?
Yeah.
You know,
But yeah, there was a balance. You're exactly right, and you know, and we kept you held our feet to the fire. You were hard on me, and I mean that's how we became friends. And Lund was hard on me too. But you know, when a politician campaigned on something, y'all called him out 6 months later, like this is what you said.
Yeah.
You know, and this is not what you're doing now. And that's the problem, because we're seeing that nothing's being reported anywhere. You know, we don't hear what's going on at the county commission unless you dig. And you know, I don't know what's going on in Bellevue. You don't know what's going on in Ocala. And you know,
I don't know what's going on in Bellevue.
there's
I'm married to
and
the
you're married to the mayor. So I was hoping. Well, hopefully, if we continue to do this show, you'll ask her, have some pillow talk, and ask her, and bring us back some issues. But you know, we're in the middle of campaign season for the city of Ocala right now. They're having their city council races, and it's an unprecedented 4 seats are up for election, including the mayor. And the mayor's race is, I don't know what the word I want to use, but it's a hot race because Manal Fakori is running against incumbent Kent Gwynn, and there's a lot of controversy that surrounds Manal. So what we've been experiencing, watching the debates and participating in all, or seeing these question and answer events, it's been interesting. You know, but campaigning is hard. It's brutal. I hated it. You know, you lose friends. You find out who your friends really are. You lose friends. I mean, you know, you're a great example. We've known each other for 30 years, and you helped me through both of my campaigns. And when you decided to run this last go round against Jeff Gold, you know, I said I love you, but I love them too, and they're good friends. And you know, within a week and a half of me, you know, liking your post and liking his post, I was blocked by Jeff and Sean, and we were apparently no longer friends. So you didn't block me, but you yelled at me that I wouldn't even answer your phone calls. So
Not publicly.
you know, you didn't yell at me publicly, but you know,
That's all right.
yeah, you know,
You get over it.
do you?
Well, and campaigning, when you're with these candidates, you know, I used to say that we just need to all get on a bus. And, you know, opponents or not, everybody get on a bus and you go from one event to the other because everybody's going to the same event. The Republican Women Federated always do a Flag Day event out at the boat basin. It's hot. It's in June. You know, I suggested when we were running Earl's campaign, you were there, the McLeans were there. I'm like, we just need to put all the candidates' names in a bowl and everybody draw out a name. And because by then you've seen their stump speech so many times.
Well, I had everybody's memorized.
Yeah, exactly.
I used to have everybody's speeches memorized.
I
Exactly.
didn't have a speech.
But you know, that's the funny thing. When you're doing a county race, you're running for a year and a half.
Mm-hmm.
You know, these city council candidates are crying and complaining. They got a 6-week campaign. I'm like, 6
Right.
weeks. Buck it up. I had to do this stuff for, I'm about to swear. I had to do this stuff for a year and a half. You know, I mean, it's
brutal.
miserable.
It's brutal.
And back then, when every Palm Cay, Oak Run on top, they all had Republican clubs. They all had other like community clubs you had to be to. And, you know, God forbid you missed an event. And, you know, it was.
And now I don't think the events mean anything like they used to mean.
No, and you know, I had somebody say something about they were basing who they were choosing for the candidate off of the forums, and you can't, because these forums anymore are ridiculous. The questions are run on and they're ridiculous, and you know, I'm sitting there thinking, you know, and I'm pretty good on my feet, that I couldn't answer some of these questions because they're just bizarre. You know, and they go on and on and on and on, and then it's like, you know, and what color shoes did you have on?
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, and you know, you had the CEP and Ocala Gazette. They, you know, was
and they were nice events.
They were. It was 4 nights in a row. You know, and when we had the seat that Matt Wardell is vacating, that's that candidate. Whoever wins will only be that 14-month period until his
Finishing the term.
Right.
And there's
But
6 people.
There's 6 candidates. And so at that event, you ask every candidate the same question. And by the time you get to the end, there's nothing new to say, and everybody in the audience is just falling asleep.
You know, and it goes back to, you know, we've talked about this a million times, you know, do signs win elections? Do flyers win elections? Do stump speeches win elections? I mean, what wins an election? And the truth is, the uninformed voter is who sways every election. You know,
Exactly.
you can think that you've got it in the bag and your flyers are the best and you've sent out the most, and the truth is, you know, the uninformed voter is going to vote because they thought your sign was cute or pretty, or they liked the color, or, you know, they thought, you know, somebody knew you from somewhere, or, you know, same reason why people won't vote for you. You know, we're getting that a lot with one of the candidates that I'm doing. It's everybody, you know, the rumors are rampant about her, you know, everything from she was, you know, too far conservative to she's a flaming liberal to, you know, I mean, it's like, let's, you know, just keep making stuff up. Let's just keep making stuff up. I mean, and we'll, maybe that's what we'll do on this show. We'll just tell lies.
Yeah, well, we could, but that's why it was better way back when, because John Lund would have a candidate on for a whole hour. I'd have a candidate on for a whole hour. The calls would come in, the people would call. I never had a script of questions. I just kind of went with the flow. I think John Lund was the same way. I didn't know about Chip, but so the candidates would come in, they'd sit down, and you turn the microphone on, and you'd have open mics, and people would call in with questions, and bang, you know, you could know what the person really is all about.
Well, and Tom Schmidt's got his morning radio show, and he does a lot of politics on that. He's a little bit limited because he's still on regular radio, and he's about to launch that with the candidates for city council. So, you know, maybe between the 4 of us, we'll start getting, you know, better vetting of candidates. We were at the Republican Executive Committee meeting last night, and, you know, there's a situation going on right now with the school board and this mask mandate, and, you know, everybody pretending to be Republicans to run,
Right.
you know, are now, you know, coming out to be fairly liberal, and, you know,
Now, is the mask mandate mandatory within the
parents
country?
can opt out.
So it's not mandatory.
Well, and you know, we were talking about that
You
before.
say whatever it is.
Right.
Yeah.
You know,
Who's going to police it?
all they've done, it was a CYA move. They don't want to get sideways of the governor,
Yeah.
but yet they don't want to get sideways of
Right, because the governor's withholding school
Correct.
system funds if they make them wear masks, correct?
So what they've said now is truly it's still not mandatory, but the parents now have to sign a form and opt out. So who's going to police that? Is that going to be up to the teacher who has way enough to do as
anyway.
it is? You know, it's just it was not a.
So what do you do if your kid goes to school without a mask? They send them home?
I think they probably give them one, would be my guess.
But then they have to come back with the parent letter saying that I don't want my kid to wear a mask. Is that?
That is correct.
We homeschool, so I don't know. We let our kids decide whatever.
My kids are older than I am, so I mean, they're more mature anyway.
And you know, and I think we all agree that COVID is real. You know, we know that.
I've had it 21 days, survivor.
Right.
You
Uh,
are?
Yeah, you
Yes.
don't even know I was sick. You're such a good friend. I was sick for 21 days.
Pull my mask on.
Come back in.
It was a long time ago.
It was in January. You didn't even know I had COVID? What kind of friend are you?
No, maybe I'm not.
You're a terrible friend. Sheila didn't, well, no one came here. I mean, they treated
now,
me.
come on now.
What did you do for me?
I asked multiple times.
She did call me.
I did
Like
call.
my daughter was throwing fried chicken, like in the room, like she would with her hazmat suit.
In
My
fact,
brother,
in-
Mike Crimmy, was, you know, he'd come, he'd make sure I had my oxygen, you know, that finger thing, whatever they do. He's, you know, I kept saying, I think I'm having a heart attack, and you know, he kept offering to send me to the hospital, and
And
then my daughter would go, "You're fine, you're fine."
And I offered to come get you one night to take you to the
you to-
hospital.
you did.
I
You
did.
And for the people in the audience, I didn't even call her.
Yeah, he
So
didn't.
I
Ask,
didn't
that's
even
my
know,
friend.
so-
I lost friends over you, and you don't even call me when I have COVID. You know,
My personal medical history. is
I have,
personal.
you know,
That-
I
I'm a
lose friends.
conservative Republican. I don't want to know your medical history. I don't know if you get a shot.
I-
don't want to know
this-
You got a cold, if you take a pill. I don't want to know any of that stuff.
I have no problem losing friends on my own, let alone just because I'm friends with you people, I lose friends. So,
Well, I'll probably get a whole bunch of things in my email this weekend.
Well, this is, that's what I said to Sheila before we started the show. I said, if nobody watches this show, we do know that my haters are going to be our biggest show watchers, because my haters are going to love this more than anybody. I mean, if I would.
Can I tell you a little quick story? I hate a story.
Oh, sure.
So I'm not coaching a Little League game.
Yeah.
And there's a parent in the stands in the Little League that is just killing me, saying all this bad stuff about me. So my daughter's sitting right there, Natasha, who was the congressional lady for Congressman Webster, and now, not at the time, she was like 8, 9.
I was gonna say, okay.
And this guy is just hammering me. I guess he didn't like the way I was coaching his kid or whatever it was. So one of the parents comes over right in front of the parent, puts his arm around Natasha and says, "Natasha, don't worry, your dad's a really nice guy and we all love him." She goes, "Oh, don't worry, Mrs. McAvoy. My dad's on the radio. Half the people in the county hate him already."
Yeah.
My kids are screwed.
And she was like, "Hey,
Yeah,
my daughter too. She'll always
I don't know
ask
why
me.
they
She's
hate
like,
me, but,
she'll say, I ran into so and so. Do they hate you, or I couldn't get a read. What they thought. So, but so okay. You want to talk about campaigning?
So
or?
it's kind of interesting when candidates first that they've got no clue what they're in for. That you have haters, you have people that they love you, and as they're hugging you, they stab you in the back. But the putting up the signs and the working the corner, waving
Sign
those
waving.
signs.
I do enjoy sign waving though. I'm comfortable on a corner.
So we were putting up one of Earl's signs north of Salt Springs, almost up to the county line, and Carl and Ann Zalek and the kids come rolling up, and so I'm standing there, we're talking to them, and all of a sudden I look down and realize I am standing in a red ant pile. I had on leggings. They're up in the leggings, almost strip on the side of the road. Have to go get in the Suburban.
People don't understand how that, because you're campaigning, and that was for Earl's campaign.
Yes.
But I had 2 friends in 2002. That was my campaign team. I had nobody. I had Sherry Calhoun and Kathy Shuck. They were non-political. They heckled me most of the time. They went with me because I have to drive all over the county by myself, so they'd go kind of to be friends and support, and they were the worst. They were worse too. And I had Harvey Klein, God love him, Mr. Republican, who would vet you, and if you got the support of Harvey Klein, you were,
Yep.
and I had the support of Harvey, but every other Republican female in Marion County hated my guts. So every forum was a setup. Every forum was a setup, because the woman I was running against was the epitome of the perfect school marm, and but she had no kids. I had 3 kids. I was on every PTO, PTA, SAC. I had all the experience, but I was also 34. So nobody liked that. But so Harvey drags me out to Zuber. There's a community center in Zuber. I mean, you may not know, but there's a community center in Zuber, and Harvey was having a forum out there, and so Sherry goes with me. We go out there. The forum goes for 3 hours. Grueling, brutal, because there's 27 of us in the race, and it was back when you had flip phones and they were analog,
right?
So they would interfere in a speaker system. So the moment I get up to speak and to do my little 3 minutes, somebody's phone in the audience is ringing on silent, and it's bzz, bzz.
Oh no!
So you can't hear anything. So we get in the car, we're leaving. I'm all upset. I'm like, oh my God, I couldn't hear anything. It was terrible, And I'm driving back from Zuber by the raceway, and I pull over the side of the road because I'm going to stick a sign in the ground because I'm at Zuber and I don't plan on going back to Zuber. And it was an intersection, and there needed to be a sign. And Sherry says to me, "I got to tell you something." And I said, "What?" She said, "That was my phone." I said, "What?" She said, "My husband was calling wanting to know what was for dinner." So I'm out of the car and I'm putting the sign up, and I am pissed. And I am just like, "I can't believe you ruined this," blah, 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 blah. And I'm ranting, and she's, trying to calm me, and she's just talking out the window, and, and all of a sudden she says she can't hear me anymore. And I get, faint. And, so she's yelling. Well,
oh, she's in the car?
Yeah, she's in the car. She's like, "What are you doing? What are you doing?" And I'm faintly yelling because I had fallen in a hole. And now I was in high heels, a wool suit, pantyhose, Barbara Bush pearls, the whole 9 yards, all dressed. And it must have been like a sinkhole or a utility, I don't know. But it was 5 foot deep because I could not get out. So now she finally checks to see where it is because it's 10 o'clock at night. Where am I? Because I've disappeared. And so she gets out of the car and I'm screaming and, so she's pulling me out, literally had to pull me out. I had dirt, head to toe dirt, holding up, and one of my good pumps fell in the hole.
Oh, no.
So I was like, I got out and I was like, I only have one shoe. So I was like, I'm going back in for the shoe. These were $300 shoes. So I go back in for the shoe and now she's holding my feet and I'm covered with ants. You say you almost stripped down. No, I did strip down on the side of the road in Zuber in the intersection, bra and underwear, got back in the car. I bitched the whole way home. I was so pissed. I was like, I'm done with this. I'm not running anymore. I'm quitting. It's over. I'm done. It's horrible. It's not for the faint of heart.
No.
You can be killed.
My ants, and I never stripped while I was campaigning.
Did you put your own signs out? Because obviously you didn't. We did.
I didn't have any signs because I didn't have any money.
Oh, you didn't have any money.
So I've got to tell you, Saturday I'm with someone. I normally drive. I have my daughter and my grandson. They always campaign and they always put out signs with us. And so they were the story with Elizabeth was she was my personal Siri. Here, do this. Here, do that. And then I would tell her get something out of the car, and she's like, Siri doesn't do that. And I'm like, well, my Siri does. Get it out of the car. So I've always driven. And so Saturday I'm with someone and I'm putting out signs and they are going onto the acceleration lane on 27, 4-lane divided road, and they slam on the brakes and say, put one right there. So I did, and I almost tripped and banged my head on the sidewalk, and I get
It wasn't
back.
the right spot, but
I get back to the vehicle and they're like, no, put one over there too. So I get another one and I'm coming back and someone's behind us now. So I open the door and this person looks to the left and floors it. Now I'm hanging on, feet still on the pavement, almost died. They almost
and I'm yelling,
drugged me.
run,
Yeah.
run. I was testing her agility.
It was
She
almost killed me. I'm just.
Yeah, but did you die?
I did not. Obviously,
you did not die. And
obviously.
it's aesthetically pleasing to have signs in the right place, and I'm very anal about that. So she put,
and I haven't gone back. They better still be there.
but she did. I did take off. That car started beating. We were in my truck. That car started beating. I was like, "Run! You can jump in."
Yeah.
And I mean, she grabbed onto the floor.
Good thing.
You
Good
did
thing.
very well with that.
Thank you.
You did really well with
Thank
that.
you. And it was raining, and it was
It was-
hot.
yeah.
It was,
And my truck was overheating because it had no water or oil. And I was like, why? She kept going, why is this banging? Why is
I've got my
what's
seatbelt
the
on.
beeping?
What
What's
is the
happening?
beeping?
I was like, I don't know. It's flashing that the engine needs something.
Oh,
Gas and go. Gas and go. I don't have a keeper, so,
But candidates, I think, we have done it enough now. So how many combined years? I'm 10 years in. We started running my first campaign, or Earl's first campaign, in 11. How long have you been in?
2002 was my first campaign, and like I said, I had a campaign team of 2, and then he befriended me at
And so
some
how long
point
have you
through it.
been? What was your first campaign? Yours
Well,
or
I got
Christy?
on the radio in 2000, I think.
Yeah, so we've got 50,
Well, when did you first run? Well, yeah, so you've got, I mean,
we've got
we ran
50 years
2006.
combined experience.
Against the 23-year incumbent and won by 1 vote.
and I didn't want to bring it up, but we made it this far in the show, but I'm the only one that has won 2 elections out of the 3 of us.
That is
Yes,
true.
you have,
Yeah.
yeah,
So,
absolutely.
I mean-
That's why I
And that
can't
and a
believe that
quarter.
We're talking about
Yeah,
it.
I mean,
Guys,
so there's that.
There is
But-
that and a quarter can get you.
And it just goes to show you the best candidate doesn't always win.
Ooh. Dean. That was harsh. All right, well, this was your audition. I'm going to look for another co-host. That's true.
I was talking about my opponents.
Oh, okay,
Yes, I know.
sure.
We
Yeah,
know.
all right.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, we're almost at 30 minutes, and I think we'll cut this first one to 30 minutes and see if we get any viewers or if anybody cares. I just want to remind everybody that we are looking for a name of this show. So if you sat through the last 25 minutes and can come up with a good name for this show, please go to our YouTube page and like and subscribe to this video or subscribe to the channel. And put in the comments on YouTube, not on Facebook. We will share it to Facebook, but put the comments on YouTube of what you think the show's name should be, and any show topics or any questions you'd like us to address the next show we have, which might be in a couple of days. And we may get in a groove and do this twice a week. And we will start talking about the city candidates and the city races. The absentee ballot just went out, so the flyers are starting to come in. We're going to start using those political flyers to discuss each candidate, and we're going to talk about maybe having guests on the show. I don't know. I really wanted to do a Johnny Carson desk and the couch. I could rearrange. I could do, listen, I got too much time on my hands.
And I think one of the things that has happened, and people have gotten busy and they don't pay attention to races. This is probably, I've lived in Ocala since 1981. This is probably the most consequential city election that we've ever had, and we always get like 10% participation voting wise. The election is September 21st. All the candidates, you need to start paying attention.
Why doesn't Ocala put the elections on election day?
Well, Bellevue doesn't either.
Yes, it does.
Is Bellevue's?
It used to not be.
In November, you mean?
They do it in November.
Well,
I think they
do it during the county commission cycle, right?
Yes, they did. The first one they did was
which is
when my wife.
So the next one is during the gubernatorial race, right? Or
the
presidential.
2022
is gubernatorial, right? Yeah. So the city council in Ocala is on the off cycle. So the mayor's term is 2-year terms, and the council members are 4-year terms. That's not how it works in Bellevue.
The Bellevue's 4 years for everybody.
And Christine actually is a voting member of council, unlike the mayor here. So Bellevue charter and Ocala, and Bellevue doesn't have a city manager, correct?
City administrator. So the city administrator handles the functions, but they ultimately, all the department heads have the council as their boss.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's a little different. Yeah.
Okay. All right, well, thank you for anybody that hung in there. I didn't get a chance to use all my fun I have a soundboard and everything. You can't hear this, but it is fun. I'm going to learn how to use all this stuff, and we'll really be in trouble. But again, thank you all for watching. I hope you enjoyed it as much as we did.
It was fun.
It was fun, and we'll maybe do it again, or maybe not, or depending on all the hatred we get in the comments, which I'm a good blocker, so the hatred doesn't bother me really. So. Believe me, I can teach you how to block. It's fun. All right, anyway, thank you guys, and hopefully we'll do this again. We'll see. So